good morning. It is yet another Monday and we are live on the Stanbic Bank Facebook pages. Talk about what you don't get anywhere but here, because at the bank we believe that whatever your dream is, it can be. Yeah. Today we get to talk about how to get a grip of your personal finance. Last week we discussed how to start a profitable business, but then you realize if you don't have good money habits, there is no way you'll get the money to start the business. So today we get back to the basics. And we have an amazing speaker. We've had her quite a number of times here on the platform, and she is back yet again to instill in us the knowledge that we deserve. But before we get to her, as usual, the amazing Barbara has to set the pace for us to get rolling. Barbara! Woo!
Dorcas. Good morning.
Good
afternoon. Good evening, guys. It is yet another Monday, another day to get wisdom, knowledge, get to learn from each other, understand each other. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Schools Championship is not about winning. It's about instilling a skill, instilling knowledge so that we can better your life, but not only for you, but for also the people around you and your community. So last week, what did we talk about? For those that were with us last week, we spoke about doing a business and doing it profitably. And most important, starting it. You know, we always have excuses. Ladies and gentlemen, let us stop using COVID as an excuse. Because for as long as we've been given life, it means that we still have a chance to do something on this universe, with or without COVID. Yes, it is here. Yes, we've all got sick. Yes, people have died. Yes, it is tragic. But can we stop using that as an excuse and ensure that whatever it is we are doing, we do it to better ourselves and the people around us? This week is exciting. We spoke about doing a profitable business. But can we do it if our personal finances are not right? Can we actually be able to move on if we do not know how to handle money from a personal perspective? Ladies and gentlemen, the platform is here for you today, for you to know how you can do it and do it right from a personal finance perspective. This young lady is a beautiful lady. I mean, B3 is like, she follows my heart. Her outfits are always on point. Her makeup is always on point. Her shoe, wow. But every time she comes onto a platform to speak, she walks the talk. Whatever it is that she talks about is something that she is already doing. I love her because of her authenticity. And normally when you see people like B3, Beatrice, and when you see people like Dennis Lindo, people who speak about things they love, it shows that no matter what it is you set your heart to, it is definitely possible and it can be. Ladies and gentlemen, without a further ado, I'd like to introduce the lovely Beatrice Byemanzi. She's an associate coach with Momentum Leadership Group. Oh, be prepared to be amazed. Enjoy the session, guys. Thank you.
Wow. What an incredible introduction that was. Thank you so much, Barbara. She's fire. She's full of energy. Always exciting to be around her. You know, my name is B3, and I love to, I don't even know if it's just about finances, but to help people see what's possible. I don't like impossibility thinking. I think Mr. Dennis Lindo used some very, if you didn't watch his session, go back, watch it, some very new vocabulary that you will learn. I will not even dare to try because I need to practice. But that possibility thinking is good. When you decide to become an impossibility thinker, when it can't be in your mind, what happens is you've just stopped opportunity. It's over before it even starts. But when you open your mind to think, could it be? Is it, how do I, instead of I cannot, how can I? And I think this is the time that we find ourselves in, ladies and gentlemen, because you know what? This is not the first lockdown we're in. The first time, it was a shock wave. Everyone is trying to, but you see, we're still at level ground because everyone was dealing with COVID-19 for the first time across the world, and some thrived, some tanked. And again, here we find ourselves. I think that we are super blessed to find ourselves in a time when you have a bank trying to give back to us for no reason at all. Because if you think about it, how does Stanbic benefit directly? Many of you watching are not even Stanbic customers. But you see, it doesn't, that's not what it's about. It's that they have seen a generation that has possibility, that has capacity, a time when the world is open to us. Did you know that Uganda is the second most entrepreneurial nation in the world? That means that when you start things here across the world, they work. Like, people come from other nations to start their businesses here because it's fertile ground. We have a young population, thriving, energetic. We have consumers, we have already open-minded. And many of us are letting the opportunity pass us by because we are not aware of where we are. And so today I'm talking about getting a grip of your personal finances. I like this topic because of the word personal. Because, you know, I find that as a culture, as Africans and also Ugandans, I'm speaking a lot to Ugandans and people across Africa, but usually we like to move in crowds, in groups, in what's popular, what's not. And I was one of those people. And you can actually be in a group of people and feel wealthy, but you're broke. Yeah. We were talking about it with my husband yesterday. I think that it's possible to grow up in a family where your parents have some, you know, level of affluence and money, at least you never lacked, and you start to be deceived in your mind that you're okay financially when you're not. Because your parents' money is not yours. And just because they gave you an opportunity and an education, those of you who are in school right now, do not get comfortable. You have to write your own story. A wise man I know, you know, was telling us yesterday that you can have two types of history. His name is Moses Mukisa. And he said that you can have two types of history. You can have the history that you've been handed, which you've endured, or you can create a new history. But the one you'll be remembered for is the one you created. What history are you creating with your finances right now? What history are you creating with your finances right now? I want to start by, I'm going to be throwing around bombs, telling stories, so just get ready. We're going to go fast. Okay, so open your heart and mind. First of all, did you know that wealth is not the same as income? The wealthiest people are not the ones who earn the most. Think about it. Don't you know people who earn a lot of money, but if their job stops today, they cannot survive another month? And don't you know people who you cannot explain? A single mother in a village somewhere, maybe she's a primary school teacher, but somehow you can't explain how she's built a home, how she's taken her kids to school. You're wondering, how has this one managed to? It's not about just income, because many of you right now are saying, I'm not able to get a grip on my personal finances because I earn little, or my earning has been interrupted, or I don't earn as much as so and so. And what do we usually measure wealth by? Ugandans. I'll talk about Uganda because I live here. The car you drive, the hair you wear on your head, the jewelry you wear, the perfume you smell, the house you live in, the neighborhood. If you live in Kololo, if I told you I live in Kololo, Kololo is an upscale neighborhood in Kampala, you would immediately assume that I'm wealthy. Maybe what you don't know is that my company pays for that house. And if they took me out of that job, I would not be able to afford to live there at all. And that maybe I'm heavily indebted. I drive a really good car, but it's on a loan. Or like you just because you see, it's not from what you see. And that's why, again, I like the word personal. I want to begin by saying that the journey towards managing your finances and moving towards wealth creation is personal. I'm the one who knows what's on my bank account. I can come here and I'm looking like I have money, but I know that the landlord maybe is chasing me. My kids have no school fees, and you can dress the part. In 10 minutes, I can look rich. I can even borrow clothes from my neighbor. You understand? But I know it's a personal journey, and the journey towards wealth creation is not just about income. It's not the same as income. If you make a good income each year and spend all of it, you are not getting wealthier. You do not get wealthy by spending. You don't. My idea of wealth was I spend freely. And I've told you guys my story before, that for me that was it. So anyone who stood in the way of my expenditure was an enemy. My idea of wealth was chop my money. Okay, I make it, I spend it, and we see what happens tomorrow. So I lived from miracle to miracle. That's not how you are created to live. We are not created. We are supposed to be creating the miracles for others. So Wealth is not what you accumulate. Wealth is not what you spend, it's what you accumulate. And today we're going to talk about principles, basic principles, which you've probably heard before. But my hope is that this time you'll put into practice what you're hearing. Because otherwise, we can stand here and teach and talk, read books, attend seminars, and remain the same if we do not do certain things. And so today I want to talk about principles. But before I go there, I want to ask, why should you be wealthy? Why is it important to be wealthy? I'm sure you're commenting, you're putting in those comments. Why should we be wealthy? Why? Wealth buys you freedom. Did you know that? That when you're wealthy, you don't have to worry about, you don't choose the school your children go to because of school fees. It's options. It's where would you want to go? What would you like to do? How far can your academic excellence take you? You choose where to sit in the aeroplane. First of all, you can go on an aeroplane. And then you choose where to sit. There are people who, not by choice, there are certain places I want to talk about on the aeroplane. They're even smaller, like the first, there's a place which is much smaller than that. Then the other one is very big for the rest of us. Yeah, it's not because I like economy class. It is my pocket that determines where I'm sitting on the aeroplane. Yeah, it gives you options that when you look at a menu, you don't only look, your eyes don't go straight to the right-hand side of the menu. You know what I'm talking about? That thing of, I'm eating the thing of 5K. Water. And so you're always drinking water, not because you're very healthy, but because the pocket is not happy. You understand? So it gives you options. It buys you freedom. You can make a difference in your family, in your generation, in your nation. If you're wealthy, you can take people to school. You can change lives. You can do something about the health system. Instead of just complaining, you can be part of a solution. Sometimes all we do is complain because that's what we can do. Yeah. It can also change your story and the story of, and that's one of the things that I'm passionate about. Did you know that Uganda, our average savings as a nation, we are still below 5%? That is sad. But do you know where that statistic comes from? It's from you and I. It's us who make that up. That we eat most of what we make. And somehow we have this superstition that it will all be okay. It will not. It is your responsibility and mine that the next generation will have a different story. Personally, I never got an inheritance from my parents. In fact, my parents left me behind as a responsibility for other people who had not planned for me. That's the inheritance the other people received. Like where they give you a child who now suddenly you have to plan your finances around an extra child you had not planned for. I cannot leave that same thing for my children. But you see, even if I feel so deeply about it, if I do nothing, I am leaving the exact same legacy. But my desire followed by action, and that's why I started to become a student of financial, stewardship, and then started fighting my own demons. Because for me, I'm not those people who grew up in a home where we learned how to save and how, I didn't even know what to do with money. I started working, and when I got money, I ate it because all I knew when I dealt with money, they gave it you to go and buy tomatoes, buy onions. So money in hand, spend. Money in hand, spend. It was a mystery. But here you are receiving financial education, whatever the age you're at, you can start doing something. You can start doing something. So why should you be wealthy? For the sake of the next generation. Guys, let's hand Uganda over. Let's leave behind something better than what we found as a generation. Bare minimum that my children will have options. That my children, if you went and did a calculation, those of you who like Excel, and you said, if I saved only 100,000 shillings, I'm going ahead of myself. I'll come to that example. But I want to tell you that it's possible. These things you see people doing, the Banyankore in Uganda, where they, at the wedding, they hand over a house to their children. And you think, corruption. No, okay, sometimes yes. But guys, it's possible. You can hand over a house without corruption and being a Munyankore. The opportunity is available to all of us. I'm a Munyankore. I'm not a thief. But I'm working along with my husband to make sure that we leave something different for our children. But remember, it is personal. I look weird to some of the people around me, but that's okay. You see, when they see the success, they will start asking the questions. You don't need to convince with words. You do the work. When your progress is evident to all, you can bring others along. So it's about talking and getting excited. Your desire must be matched with action. But let's begin. Today I want to talk about 4 things. 1, the first step you must take is the step of vision, the mind. Let me tell you something. I am a Bible reader. And I've been intrigued by the story, a good story of the Egyptians and the Israelites. There's this nation called Israel that was delivered out of captivity after hundreds of years of being slaves. So God sends a deliverer, his name is Moses, and he goes and brings these children of Israel, and the journey was supposed to take 40 days. The journey ended up taking 40 years. Why? These people called Israelites left a land called Egypt, but they left as slaves even if they were free. Their mindset was the mind of slaves even if they were free. And that's a story that I find is for us, is that you go to school, you get a degree, you get a master's degree, you get a PhD, but you're still a slave in your mind. You get a job, you get a promotion, you earn $10,000, but in your mind, the operating system is still the same. And it begins with, first of all, a change of mind. Do you have a vision for your finances? What do you want financially? You, not your friends, not your family. What do you want financially? What do you want? Okay? If you do not know what you truly want, anything will look like a destination. Personally, I never had a financial dream. I'm not going to lie to you. My dream was generally to be rich. What did that look like? Have money to spend. Was there a figure? No. Was there a number annually? No. When my husband tried to engage me, I got irritated. Why are we trying to get an annual figure? Who cares? First of all, those things, when you wrote the figure down, it looked impossible. The first time this happened for me was in 2018. I joined a financial class. Guys, 2018, I was not young. I won't tell you how old I was. Very, very recently. But can you imagine, I'd already gone through university. I'd worked for almost 10 years. Go figure. And I was just learning about making a financial target. So don't be ashamed. Pick yourself up. So 2018, I sit in this class with Moses Mukisa, who has written a book called Straightforward Financial Growth. You should get a copy. And this book, I like it because it's so Ugandan and it has our examples of African examples that we can really use and grow. So he says, he gives us a target. It's just a group of us. We are 10 friends and we are, you know, usually you hang out with people who are the same income earning as you. Did you know? Just check. Go check. Yeah. Usually you're broke together or you're growing together. So our friends were in the same income bracket. So we are there together. You can't give stories. And he says to us, I want you to have a target of a minimum of 100 million a year. My eyes almost popped. What do you mean 100 million a year? I'm looking at this man. Meanwhile, he is my boss. He knows I work 5-6 days a week. He knows this. Like, where do you expect me to? At this point, and he said a minimum of 10 income generating activities. These include employment, self-employment, business, and investments. I was like, how can someone be so unreasonable? 10 incomes. At this point, I had two income streams. Okay, 1.5. My salary, and then but things, you know, out of crisis, where things are tight, I think it works like that. Like you're responding to crisis, you're not in charge. You respond to circumstances, and many of us are like that. Yes, we can talk about COVID. I like what Barbara said, that let's not use that as an excuse. And some of you feel like it's hard. It's not hard, it's truth. Because you know what? Someone else next door is thriving in the same time as you, under the same conditions, maybe with even less resources. Why? Their mind is different. Do you have a target? So we set this target, which I felt was ridiculous. And I started fighting myself. Guys, we had to find 10 income streams. It was every week you were meeting and they're asking you, and you're the one who has stories. So we started coming up with things, selling. I had written a book. I started selling it. I sold the book. I then thought to myself, NSSF is an income stream. I realized I'd bought some of our stocks where, and I didn't even know how much and how they were doing. So I started to wake up to realize I am not in charge of my finances at all. I have this dream of being rich, which is based on nothing, and I will hit it every time. If you do not know for sure what you want financially, anything will be a destination. Even where you are now, you'll say, I'm comfortable. That's one of the worst words you can ever use, because growth is outside your comfort zone. I'm comfortable. What does comfort look like to you? And so we had to start moving, guys. We pushed. And you know what? Everyone in that group hit at least 80 million a year, which we had never done, because many of us were earning about 36 million a year. That's 3 million a month. Eh? Yeah. And some of you, you're watching, you're saying, 36 is even a lot. But you know what? What happened is that our minds changed. Once your mind has changed, you're halfway there. Because suddenly, what happens in your mind is it starts to open up to fill the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Like you become a different person by changing your mind. You renew your mind. Do you have a financial goal? Yes, in COVID, you can have a financial goal. And you can stretch your mind to think possibility. Possibility. I'll tell you a quick story. In the lockdown of last year, we were all home, homeschooling, and I had been so busy, I didn't even have time to do anything in the kitchen. But this time round, I found myself with so much time, I started baking. It became a thing where you bake this, everyone became a baker, a chef. You know how it was, even you tried. So I started doing those things, and it seemed to work. Like, my husband is a very honest man, so he was telling me, this is really good, this is really... So I was just baking for people at home to eat. And then I thought about scones. I was like, people don't make scones in Uganda. It wasn't a business idea, I was just baking for home. Now, the scones became such a hit that the kids ask for them daily for over a month. Now, children don't lie. And so I was just happy that we had something that was easy to make. And then a few friends, my husband said, saying, why don't you sell this? I can't. Why? In my head, I'm not a baker. I'm not a baker. What have you decided that you're not? But there is a gap. People were asking for the product. And so someone just decided to pay me for a pack of scones. I took them for just eating. And then my business coach, what did he do? He made an order for scones for clients. And I had to find packaging within 24 hours. Packaging, I like excellence. And so you see this product right here. It's a product of the lockdown. It's home-baked. Yes, it's a product of the lockdown. I registered the company quickly. I started, advertising, created systems of it, and I knew that soon the lockdown is going to end and I won't be the one baking, because people started ordering the scones. They were calling them soft cookies. And then we grew the product range from just this to buns, to donuts, it grew. But it started because once the market is ready and you have a product, you have a business. You have a business, and then we started to build systems. What did I do? You think I went far? There were 2 girls working in my home managers. I told them, you're going to earn an extra income. On top of the salary you pay for working in the home, we are going to be taking shifts. In the evening, we bake. When we are paid at the end of the month, you get a commission. They started earning extra, and we encouraged them to save. They started saving extra. So right now, one of the most prolific bakers in the home-baked business is the girl who works in my home. Yeah, and she's doing an excellent job. And you see the children have grown. They are going to school. Soon she'll be not very useful in the house. But also we've learned how to balance, and then we've hired more people. So the team has grown. We're not too many, but we're like 4. And you know what? I'm creating employment. That way we are growing. We've bought assets. But now beyond the mindset, now I'll tell you that my mind started affecting the business that I was running. And this is the personal finances will also enter your business finances. The way you manage your personal finances, some of us is how we are now managing our business finances, and that's why the business can't grow. So personal finances is so important. So you begin with a target. What do you want? You, not your sister, not your brother, not your mother, not your friend, not your who. What do you want? How much money have you decided you're going to make now? It's one thing to decide, it's another to commit. You know that story that 4 frogs decided to jump off the tree? How many jumped? Just because you decide doesn't mean you do it. So deciding and doing are very different things. So that commitment inside, what do you want? You must take full responsibility for it, because others may inspire and encourage you, but you have to be committed. You see, these people encouraged me to start doing home-baked scones, but now keeping the commitment was another story altogether. Learning how packaging, getting suppliers, fixing things. Now, personal finances, you make the decision. Then when the money hits your hands, that's where the commitment comes in. How are you going to spend it? What are you going to do with your money when you've made it? Okay? Or when the opportunity comes, what will you do? The second thing, the first is the vision principle. What do you want? Cross that bridge. Now that you know what you want, the second question is, what will it cost you to get that financial dream? There is a cost. Everything worthwhile comes at a price. Everything. When you get married, you've chosen to give up on all boys if you're a woman. Or if you're a man, you've given up, even forsaking all others. There's a cost. And you might see a more hot one after 2 weeks. But you already made the commitment. Yeah. Yeah, there is a cost. There is a cost. If you decide to have children, you can't be very spontaneous anymore. I'm sure you see how Barbara is very spontaneous. I don't think she can now wake up with her children and say, we've gone to Ginger for a month. Who is going to take care of your children? Everything comes at a cost. Even having strong finances comes at a cost. You can't continue spending how you like, not working hard, and be wealthy at the same time. No, no, no. They are principles. Finances are governed by principles. They do not respect you. They don't respect where you live. You can't be a very wealthy person while living and working in Uganda because there are so many of them. You don't need to leave this nation. This nation is one of the easiest places to become wealthy because the principles are the same. So what will it cost you? First of all, it has to cost you your current mindset. Because you see, everything you have right now is a result. It's a harvest of a seed you planted. Okay? It's a harvest. Stanbic can do these great teachings for you. You can read books. You can attend seminars. But until you decide and get committed to the process of wealth creation, until you decide and get committed to the process of wealth creation, your personal finances will remain exactly as they are. Exactly as they are. I was one of those people who was in spaces where we learned about, we met rich people in this nation who talked to us. It's like the things would enter here. I get excited. By tomorrow, they've left. Why? I didn't count the cost. I didn't think about what will it cost me to become that person. Do you really want to become financially independent? Honestly, deep down in your heart, do you really want it? Do you really, really want it? Are you willing to reorient your lifestyle to achieve that goal? Because it will cost you your lifestyle. I'll tell you, when we started learning these things, my husband has always had a good financial mindset, but then he married me. And you know, you become the average of each other. So I remember how we had to move from the home we were living in. And I grew up in those homes, big, beautiful homes. But you see, when you've grown up, you don't realize that your parents worked very hard. By the time you understood, they had put their finances in order. So that you want to live in that house from the beginning. So we had to move to a smaller home in a neighborhood I did not like. We turned a garage into a bedroom for the children and even broke a wall to make a window for them. We painted it, but I felt so bad. We stopped doing DSTV Premium. Do you know that those of you are paying for pay TV? Many times, actually, what's happening is that you don't watch it. It's just a status thing in your heart. You feel good to say you have a certain pay TV something. We had to give up these things and even shopping, things which you buy in the supermarket and you feel good. You know, when you put cheese in your basket and olives, and oh my God, you like even feel like your accent has changed as you're shopping. You know, just as you're putting those things in, but meanwhile, at the detriment of your financial future. Feeling rich and being rich are two different things. Being in the car, in the garage doesn't make you a car. Like you can't, just because you shop things which rich people eat. Those things of taking Instagram pictures where you're holding a glass of wine and you have a shawl on you that's beautiful and furry. You're broke. You're broke. Who are you trying to impress? For me, I had people I was trying to impress and I didn't even know it. Some of the things I'm talking about, you're not even aware that you're trying to dress a certain way, look a certain way, you know, project yourself a certain way. You spend money on things. That money you're spending on certain things, gadgets, whatever. If you invested it, you would be able to afford those gadgets. Because you know what? The gadget you have now, which is on vogue, even by this time next year, it will be backward. But if you take care of your finances now, you will always be able to afford the current gadget of whichever time. So right now, do you really want to become financially independent? Okay? Many will likely conclude that they are not. When you think about it, do I want to change my lifestyle? Do I want to go out and people are eating things and I choose not to pay because I've decided how much I must save daily or weekly? If you're willing to make the necessary trade-offs of your time, your energy, your consumption habits, then you are ready to go on your way to financial independence. We talk about the 3 building blocks for wealth creation. Get it? Income. You can't get wealthy without income. So if you're home, I need you to open your mind to how can I make some money? Are there neighbors who need a tutor? Right now, parents are stuck with kids at home. And a parent is usually not a good teacher of their own children. I'll tell you from experience, I almost killed my kids last year in the lockdown trying to teach them. Like, we want to beat them because they're not understanding a concept. So you know what? We have a tutor. And everyone is happy. I can be their mother. But this young girl who is tutoring our children, she's a university graduate who is now, she walks from her home to our home every day, tutors the children, goes away in the evening, and she's making money. She could let this season pass, wondering what to do. Do your neighbors need a tutor? Or you're stuck on TV, hoping that something will happen, that the government will change their decision. You can't depend on the outside conditions only. What skill do you have? Can you start selling some snacks make some mandazi, put it outside on a stall in the neighborhood. I don't know, do something. One of the girls who works for me at home, she started to make our Ugandan pancakes, the banana ones, and she would take them to the shop of one of the people who has a little shop in the neighborhood. They sell for her, then she gives a commission. And she's making money, more money than some corporate people. So at the end of the day, open your mind to, I must have a minimum of 10 income generating activities. It sounds mad, crazy, but it opens your mind to think. Okay? And then the second thing, so first of all, is get it. Guard it. Saving, saving, saving. Remember, as a nation, that is an area we are failing miserably. Saving. One of the things I've done, let me tell you, 2 things I've done that you can go and try out. I don't like, succeeding alone. I have 2 envelopes in my bag at any given time. When I get money handed to me, whether it's business, business money, of course, is separate from my personal money. But the moment I get that money, as a bare minimum, 20% of that money goes into a savings envelope. Bare minimum. I would encourage you to even save up to 50%, especially unexpected money. A deal that you didn't expect, why not save 50% of it? I'm not a believer in save all and suffer. No, you will wake up and snap and say, why are we suffering? You eat all of it. Don't get extreme. Okay? Enjoy your hard work. Okay? So 10% is tithe. Give to God his money. I have those 2 envelopes, 10% and 20%. Take off God's money. Pay myself first, because the only money that is yours is the money you save. Everything else, you're a courier. It's going through you to the supermarket, going through you to the landlord, going through you. So you stand and say, I earn 2 million. You don't. You probably earn 150 or negative 500,000. And you don't even know it. So every month, this is what we used to do in our home. My husband and I used to. It was income minus expenditure equals savings. That left us broke. And that's what some of you are doing. You first get the income, you take off all the expenditure, and you say, we have some money left, let's save it. No, you're just saying that your future is not, it's not the first thing you think about. Now what do? It is income minus savings equals expenditure. Because listen to me, if you're making 1 million Uganda shillings, you live off of it. If you make 2, you live off of it. If you make 10, you will finish all of it. We adapt. And also it keeps you working harder. So now we take off, that money comes off first before any thought, and we have a weekly saving target with some friends. Everyone must save weekly. On top of that, you're making other investments outside of your savings. But you see, we didn't get there today. We started in 2018 properly. 2018, 2019, 2020, 20. Now it's 4 years on, and the habit has now strengthened. I was the weakest in that area. I would say, I'm going to save. Then I would look at the money. I'm like, but why are we suffering? Guys, saving is not suffering. You're just postponing your suffering if you're not saving. You feel like you're enjoying now, but do you want to be a burden to your children when you're older? They're the ones trying to figure out how to take care of you. Or do you want to be the person who, when you have children, you can take care of them? You can give them opportunities. You're the supplier, not the one taking from them. They're not sitting there with their little money figuring out how to take care of mom and dad. It begins now, in your 20s, in your teens, in your 30s. Don't wait to be like some of us who are in our 30s. That's already like a third of your life, or even some, like quite a big chunk of our lives gone. Productive years. Get aggressive. Have envelopes. Or now you're asking, you're probably saying, what about on mobile money? I have a way. Every time money comes on mobile money, I send it to, on MTN, there's something called More Cash. I send it there immediately. Boop. And then I have a daily thing which takes off an amount of money from my phone to save. Because you know what? If you can't see the money, you adjust to what you have. When you can see it, you also adjust to what you have. So take it away from you. Protect your savings. So get it, guard it. Prioritize saving before spending. Saving, if I could beg you, that's what like if you forget anything else I've said today, save. It's the first bill, because everything else we're talking about, investing, you can't invest when you don't have money. And don't despise the money you have. You say, imagine, you know, one of the girls who used to work in our home as a house help, we encourage them to save. And so one of them saved and actually built her parents a home, brought back owner in her home, and even left, and now runs a business. But this particular one worked with us for 6 years and left too, because she had got her education done and she went and started working. So she works in a space that didn't, pay her too much. But every week she sends me 20,000 shillings for saving. I was telling my husband yesterday that she has now reached 500,000 as of last week. You know that money, in your mind, you're thinking that's little. But at the end of the day, if she has her 1 million, 2 years, it becomes 2. Of course, her income will grow. Then it becomes 6, 10. She can get to a point where she has 50 million shillings on her account. And for her lifestyle, that's quite enough. She can invest it somewhere and it can start bringing her monthly income, and she may not have to work another day in her life. While you, who is probably earning way more and eating all of it, you are postponing your days of suffering. Guys, please, if you just, please save. Save on all your income. All, and I mean even unexpected. Even gifts, yes. Even gifts, they are money. It's cash. Save, 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 and of course, grow it, which I'm not really going to talk about. Me, I feel like if you do those two things, get it, keep it, which is save it. Save it in an investment. Talk to people who can help you. Come, I'm sure that if you walked into maybe Stanbic Bank, they might be even able to give you someone who can give you advice on how to, where to save your money, how to grow it, etc. And do not despise the little you're putting aside. So, habitually building habits. That's the third principle. We talked about the first one, vision. Do you want to be wealthy? Secondly, there's a price to pay. You have to change and become a different person. How do you change? It is that habit principle. Everything you see is a harvest. The amount of money on your bank account is a harvest of habits. Or the lack thereof, the lack of money on the bank account. Whatever is going on in your life, whether it's relationships, emotionally, it's habit. And me, I had very bad financial habits. So everything you see is a harvest. Your current financial state is a harvest. Wherever you have bad habits, there is, wherever you've built habits, whether good or bad, there is ease. You can have ease in doing bad things because you built habits there. So wherever you've built a habit, there is ease. There are things which you do with ease. Eating at certain times of the day, your body starts to demand for food because you've always fed yourself at that point. If you're someone who habitually exercises, when you stop exercising, your body starts going crazy, because it's used to it. Now, even financially, in the beginning, I'll tell you, when I used to try to save money, 2018, me, I did that. I could never coach. I think I started allowing to coach people in 2020 because I was failing. I was like, do I have a spiritual demon possession? Like, guys, come on. Why can't I just save money? It was the habit. I had built habits for almost 30 years that I wanted to break in one day. So build accountability systems if you must. Get people who keep you accountable on the savings, where you're saving with people who you feel embarrassed if you don't do it, where you have to send the money and they won't hear your stories. Build what you can around that good habit of saving money and making money. Right now, we've been working on saving and we are good. Now, we have an accountability space where now we are working on income. Weekly, you have to post a certain amount of income, minimum. And you can't tell stories. People are harsh. No one is hearing your stories, man. So people are innovating. People are thinking. There's a lady who didn't make as much money in the group last week, and suddenly she's under pressure. She's under pressure to make, so she has come up with 3 business ideas in 1 week. Yeah, because there's pressure. You see, if you had no other way to survive, you would make money. But there's a cushion that is allowing you to continue to be lazy. Get up and move. These are the years for us to make money and save money. And so habits. What do I want to say about habits that I think is very critical? Habits are what are going to make or break. Building wealth takes discipline, sacrifice, hard work. Habits. How often do you look at your finances? Do you mostly track your expenditure or your income? Track your income. See how much you're making. And I know I sound like, hey, Manangi, yes. Do you want to stay where you are? You don't. But it's a personal decision. You have to be willing. You become an unweekly. Do you know why you spend daily? Think about it. You spend daily. Of course, lockdown is a blessing in that sense because your spending has reduced a bit. You spend daily. So unweekly minimum. It would be great to earn daily. Again, why I embraced doing this business in home baked was that I was thinking, how do I earn daily? I couldn't, find anything that would help me earn daily. And this is one of those. Of course, it's hard work. You have to keep pushing the business, advertising, looking for clients, all sorts of things. But you have to open your mind to how can I earn daily? But let's go beyond. Before daily, can we say weekly? Weekly earning. Think, how can I make money? I'm not saying make too much, even if it's 20,000 shillings a week. That's more money than you had been making before. Extra. Just what can you do that can earn you money? Weekly. Open your mind, because when you open your mind, you think possibility. And then become an avid saver. Save on every... When I talk about saving, the other day, I had finished dealing with the business monies spreading them out in the savings and etc. Then I found that someone had made a payment which we hadn't entered in the system, and it was 30,000 shillings. So this other lady who I work in the business with was looking at me like, are you going to seriously take 30,000 shillings through those percentages? I looked at her and I said, absolutely. 3,000 tithe, 6,000 savings. She was looking at me like, I'm insane. But you know what? Respect money. That 30,000 over time becomes a lot of money. Over time, a little over time becomes a lot. I told you guys that I would quickly paint for you a picture, and I want you to go home and you have time on an Excel. If you don't know how to use Excel, find a friend. Ask yourself, if I saved 100,000 shillings a month and put it somewhere where it grew at only 12% per annum, 100,000. At the end of the year, you've saved 1.2 million. It has made you 144,000. So next year, you have the 1.2 plus 144K. If you keep doing that, at the end of about 30 years, which is not too long from today, you think 30 years is a long time. Think about your years, 10 years. Your life 10 years ago is not very far away. 30 years from today, maybe you'll be, if you're 30 years old now, you'll be 60. You'll still be alive and vibrant. If you're 20, you'll be 50. If you're 15, you'll be 45. Can you imagine? You could have at least 58 million on an account from saving 100,000 shillings a month, which you can save. Many of you watching me. Now grow it to 200 a month, 300. Put in the numbers. Keep changing the number. 1 million. If you do the million, in 30 years, you'll be a billionaire. Guaranteed. Tried, tested, guaranteed. Billionaire. And then you don't have to work another day in your life. You can sit at home, and that money can be somewhere, even on a fixed deposit account in Stanbic, making you money. And then you won't have to be a burden. You'll be a blessing instead. So the things I'm talking about are not big science. No. It's decisions. Small steps make giant leaps eventually. No one wakes up and grows their muscles overnight. That's a disease. I'm seeing men here in the room. Okay, I'm not seeing many muscles, I must confess. But yeah. But usually the ones who build muscles, they tell you it takes time. In the beginning, it's painful. You want to quit, but it's in not quitting that actually you stop the pain and build the muscles. Okay? So build the muscle. It will feel like you're suffering because you'll have to cut out some things. What's the unnecessary expenditure? You're thinking 5 years from now, I will be financially fit. I'll be financially fit. I'll have muscles. I'll be able to fight the big giants. COVID will come and I'll not be freaking out because I have something saved somewhere that can take me through a difficult time in my life. And lastly, when will you start making these changes? Action, action, action. I'm going to end where I started. We can listen to all these things. I've told you about earn money, save money. Earn money, save money. Every week, every day, each money you make, save some first before you spend. Have your envelopes. I have my 2 envelopes in my bag. Put the envelopes there, and all the people who I mentor have those envelopes now. 2 envelopes in their bags. Every time money comes, before you think, take off God's money, take off my money. At the end of every week, invest that money somewhere or put it on a savings account that gives you some form of interest. So what are you going to do with what you know? You're going to say, I don't know this, it's COVID. Yes. The best day to start is now. Do something with what you know. Start increasing your capacity to earn. Because if you open your mind, you'll see opportunity. Save at the very worst 20% of all your income, no matter what. Business people, same thing. Same thing. Profit first. Right now, my business, we say income minus profit equals expenditure. We take off the profit first, and we've decided how much our profit is. If you think I'm crazy, there's a book you can read called Profit First. It will tell you all about that principle. But you grow because many of you entrepreneurs are there waiting for one day when you will make the money. On paper, the money is there. In your account, there is nothing. I've been there. It doesn't work. So you have to secure the profit first, and then expenditure will depend on what is in the expenditure account. That's the same thing for your home and your personal finances. So what have I said today? Habit, habit, habit. Habit is stronger than desire. Build habits around income and savings. Become someone who is not prone to expenditure. You can retrain yourself. Don't say it's not in my personality. The personality you have is what you've believed you have. You can change it. You can really change it. So let's get a grip on our personal finances. My hope is that we'll hear stories, more stories about businesses that emerged, opportunities that came up. People started saving, put aside that 20K a week, save it somewhere, have a target, a bare minimum target, work towards it by working hard and smart. Save, 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 save. Income minus savings equals expenditure. Spend less, because what you spend never makes you wealthy. Getting a grip on your personal finances is controlling what comes in and stays in, not what goes out. So decide how much must stay in, and then have an accountability system and keep growing. I hope to see you on the other end of financial growth and progress, where we have choices and options. Thank you so much for listening to me.
The catch is get it, guard it, and grow it. Meanwhile, whatever you spend does not make you rich. I'm now revisiting my habits, but thank you so much, B3. You guys, before lockdown ends, I hope our habits are better. Thank you so much for being with us in this session. I hope you have learned just as much as I have. We can compare notes. Anyway, tell us in the comment section what you learned. Also, engage with us on other NSC activities using the hashtag #StandBigUGChampions and hashtag #ItCanBe. Till next time, wear your mask, sanitize, and keep safe.